In today's video, I want to share with you the 3 biggest misconceptions that exist about forgiveness. Forgiveness is a really powerful personal development tool. Because if you understand what forgiveness is truly about, then you can make huge changes in your life. You can let go of the old and bring in something new. And you can really reclaim your power. Those are all things that I want to talk with you today about in this video, so let's get started. Hi, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Julia Arndt, and I'm a peak performance coach and stress management trainer. And today I am really excited to talk with you about the topic of forgiveness. Forgiveness is part of the peak performance method, the model that I have created in order to help you develop peak performance tools to thrive at work and in your personal life, because forgiveness is a tool to build resilience. Forgiveness is a really important tool to master in order to be able to manage conflicts, for example. Forgiveness is something that all of us need to practice more and need to understand more what it is all about. So I'm really excited to share with you the 3 biggest misconceptions that I have seen people have about forgiveness and why it is so important to change these misconceptions. So let's start with the very first misconception. Misconception number 1. You can't forgive the other person because you feel like the other person doesn't deserve to be forgiven. And at the end of the day, when you are forgiving somebody, it is not about agreeing to their behaviors or to their actions. It is about letting go and about reclaiming your power. Because imagine this. The person that you feel like doesn't deserve your forgiveness might have long moved on from this experience. They might not even think about it anymore. But every time you think about this experience and all of these negative feelings are coming up, the hurt, the anger, the frustration, the sadness, those are the feelings that are within you, and nobody can control these feelings. The only person that has control over your feelings is yourself. And so it is really important to understand that if you forgive, if you make the decision that no matter if that person deserves to be forgiven or not, you're starting the forgiveness process, then you can start moving on in your life. And then you can start to heal. Because really often we think that if we forgive the other person, we make what happened to us okay. And you know what? What happened to you was not okay. It was not okay. And it was really hurtful and it was a really bad experience. But here's the thing. That experience is in the past. And you cannot make changes to the past. As much as you want it and as much pain you are experiencing, maybe after years after this experience has passed, you cannot change the past as much as you ponder about it. The only power that you have is to make this conscious decision today that you want to forgive in order to move on from this experience. So it really doesn't make it okay what you experienced. It doesn't help the other person to deserve forgiveness or anything like that. It is really all about you. It is about making sure that you are not staying stuck in the past, but that you're moving on into the present moment and into the future, and that you just can create new experiences because you let go of these old feelings. And only if we let go of these old feelings can we start the healing process, and can we also complete that experience and really learn from this experience. Something that we can't really do when we haven't forgiven, okay? So this is misconception number 1. Again, misconception number 1 was that the other person doesn't deserve to be forgiven. Misconception number 2 is that you need to wait for the other person to forgive you first before you can forgive. And again, you are giving the other person the power. Because here is the thing. When you want to practice forgiveness, it is not about the other person. That is the biggest misconception, that we are always projecting and portraying everything to the other person. That we are staying in this waiting cycle where we are like, they don't deserve to be forgiven, they have to forgive me first, all of these different things. But it is all about you. If you wait for the other person to forgive you, you might wait again until the end of your lifetime, because they don't even know that they should forgive you. They don't even know that you are still holding on to something that has been really painful for you. So it is really important, again, that you are the only person that can practice forgiveness. And that can change, obviously, the relationship with the other person, because you are taking the power to do that, forgive that first step. You really don't need this other person to be in your life. The only person that you need in order to practice forgiveness is yourself. And you can practice forgiveness every single day. Even if something just happened to you 5 minutes ago, you can go into another room and you can close your eyes or you can keep them open and you can just tell yourself, I forgive you, I forgive myself, and I'll just move on from this. And I let go of these feelings. Because only if you do that, then you can really reclaim your power, let go of the past, let go of what happened to you, and really move into the present moment. And the third misconception is that you don't deserve to be forgiven, or that you can't forgive yourself. And that is really hard, right? But we can all relate to this because we are all making mistakes in our lives. Nobody is excluded from that. We all sometimes think, oh my God, what in the world was I thinking when I did this in this moment? But here's the thing. Mistakes are not really mistakes. Mistakes are more like finders. So when you're making a mistake, you find out who you want to be and who you do not want to be. But in that moment when you were there a couple of months ago, a couple of hours ago, a couple of years ago, you did the thing that you thought was right in that moment. And now you know better. And now you can be better. Now you can react better. And what is really, really important about this is that you just forgive yourself for that. Because again, nobody else can do it for you. You need to make this decision that you want to move on in your life, that you want to heal, and that you forgive yourself, and that you can practice that sympathy and that empathy with yourself. Because imagine this as well. If you are having a really hard time to forgive yourself, I'm sure that you are also having a pretty hard time to forgive other people. Because if you can't bring that sympathy up for yourself, how are you going to be empathetic with another person? You see what I'm saying? It is so, so important that you forgive yourself, that you specifically, most importantly, forgive yourself, because we are all making mistakes in our lives. And I remember a time in my life where I had a really hard time to forgive myself, because I was in a relationship that I wasn't really happy in, but then the person ended the relationship before I could, and I could not stop thinking that I should have been the person. And so I did not forgive myself for the whole situation. And I held a grudge towards myself for months. And I needed this period in order to, of course, heal and in order to understand what happened to me. But at the end of the day, the most important thing was that I forgave myself for what happened, that I learned from this experience, and that I could close that chapter and then move on into a better life. That is why forgiveness is so, so important. It is really so important. And I know I've already mentioned this a million times, but I really mean it. So do me a favor, do everyone a favor, but do most importantly yourself a favor and start to forgive yourself. Take things that you did in the past with humor. Laugh about it and say, oh my God, what did I do during that time? What was I thinking? I wasn't thinking straight, and you know what? That's totally okay, because if I don't forgive myself for this, I will hold on to these feelings forever, and I don't want to be this person that is holding on to these feelings. I don't want to be this person that feels frustrated with myself, that feels angry with myself. What is that going to serve you? Absolutely nothing. That's the easy answer. It is not going to help you at all if you don't practice forgiveness. If you don't practice forgiveness with yourself and also at the same time with other people. And you don't need to have these other people in your life in order to practice that forgiveness. We already established that, right? You don't agree to the experiences that you had. You don't say that it was okay what happened to you. You just say, you know what? I am going to reclaim my power. I want to start healing. For me, it's really, really important that I move forward in my life. And you can only do that when you practice forgiveness. And I think the most powerful situation that I heard forgiveness about was a really dear friend and colleague of mine who lost his, I think, 4 or 5-year-old daughter in a car accident. And it was their nanny that was driving the car, and she crashed the car and the girl died in the accident, which was an absolutely devastating experience for the parents. And I actually interviewed my colleague on my podcast about this, and I will link it here in the show notes. And he said to me, you know, I could have held a grudge towards the nanny for the rest of my life. And I could have chosen to go to court and to sue and to do all of these different things. But I understood that it would not help me move forward in my life. I would have spent years and tons of money to sue this person and to make their life miserable, and at the same time make my life even more miserable. And it was already miserable as it is because he lost his daughter, which was a super traumatic and super sad experience. So this is a really powerful and beautiful example why forgiveness is so important. It is not about making it okay what happened. It is about reclaiming the power and moving on from the past, because as painful as the past sometimes is, we cannot change it. So I hope you found this video helpful. And today's audience question is, who do you still accuse of doing something wrong to you? Or who do you still hold a grudge against? Where do you need to practice a little bit more forgiveness in your life? I hope you took a couple of good learnings away from today's video, and I hope that you start practicing forgiveness. So thank you so much for being here, and I hope to see you in the next video.